Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the podcast. I'm your host, City Joel True Love, here with your Aew Dynamite review for October 16th, 2021. Stellar show, of course, preempted Dynamite tonight due to the NHL playoffs on Wednesday. They'll be preempted again next week, but stellar show. Not a lot for it, but so good stuff. But I'll start with, before I get into review, I'll start with the big news coming out of tonight's show. So, the brackets for the AEW World Title Eliminator Tournament were revealed tonight. And also, it was revealed last night on Rampage that will be Hangman vs Omega for the World Title at Full Gear. But the brackets were released to determine who will face the winner of that match. So, brackets are as follows. So, it'll be Powerhouse Hobbs versus Orange Cassidy, Lance Archer versus Eddie Kingston. The winner of that will face the winner of Bryan Danielson and Dustin Rhodes, and the winner of Hobbs and Orange Cassidy will face the winner of 10 of Dark Order's number 10, aka Preston Vance, versus Jon Moxley. Now, right away, you can kind of figure after Tony Khan's Full Gear card was leaked the other day, you can kind of tell that it's going to be Bryan versus Moxley in the finals. So, prediction is that Orange Cassidy will face Powerhouse Hobbs because they kind of teased that match earlier in the show. Archer versus Kingston could go anyway, but I'm predicting Lance Archer to go against Bryan Danielson to beat Dustin Rhodes. And of course, Jon Moxley will be 10. So, but that's the brackets for the World Title Eliminator Tournament. The curious thing, though, is who faces Hangman, because that's kind of the first real challenge for Hangman on Paige. But we'll see. So with that out of the way, let's get into the review now for Dynamite. So, CM Punk was special guest on commentary for this week. So, he dodged a guy trying to offer him his beer, which, of course, CM Punk is straight edge, and this wacko was probably having a drink too many, but oh well. So, show started off in interesting fashion. We had Malakai Black versus Dante Martin, and Leo Rush was in the corner of Dante Martin. This was an interesting back and forth, especially considering you wonder how would Leo Rush fit into the match. He played it normal. He didn't really get involved in this match, which good to see. So It was a drop kick by Dante, which sent Black to the outside, but Black stopped Dante's momentum when he looked for a tope and decked Dante with a big back elbow. Then Dante, he was on the outside, went for a looked to be a springboard Hurricanrana, but countered with a power bomb into a half crab by Black. He targeted the leg of Dante because the high flyer young kid tried to take his legs out from under him, and that's what Black did for this match. Target the legs of Dante, and they were in the corner. Black had Dante in an electric chair position. Dante hit a poison Rana, and then Black was on the rampway, and Dante, he stumbled a bit. I'm not sure if he was trying to sell for his leg or if he really was having trouble, but Dante managed to hit a suit or a tope con hero from the top rope to the rampway on the Black. They were back in the ring. Black was staggered with an enziguri by Dante. Black followed up with a meteor from the top rope, kick to the back of the head, followed by a German suplex for a near fall. They were on the top rope, but it looked like Black was going to hit a suplex from the top rope to the outside, but Dante countered with a springboard or Karana from the top rope in the outside, and then Dante still favoring, or actually hit a moonsault springboard for a near fall. And then he went for a high risk attack again, springboard, but he missed. And then Black, who was favoring his ribs, hit a Sin Eater roundhouse kick to Dante's face for the win. Competitive match. Dante, still very young, but he's still growing. And you can tell the audience loves him. They're just carrying on with him more and more. Black gets the win. I mean, obviously. Rush, you could tell, was disappointed. And Black, as he went up the rampway, looked back at Dante and gave a head nod. Nodded his head as a sign of respect, showing that Dante did take him to the limit. And apparently next week, we're going to get Black vs. Cody 3, which I'm very curious how they're going to go about this. Black, he's beaten Cody twice. We saw the video later in the show with his Nightmare family members being or targeting him while training. So, I mean, I'm just curious how they're going to go about this. If they're going to still do a turn for Cody, I mean, you have to be careful. You don't want to turn Black face because I think he's doing very good as a heel, but we'll just have to see for next week, for next Saturday. So, Then we got an Inner Circle and ring segment, all 5 of the Inner Circle. So Santana took the microphone. He was hyping the crowd up in Miami. And they were interrupted by Dan Lambert's crew, American Top Team, and the Man of the Year, Scorpio Sky, Ethan Page. It's funny, Chris Jericho, he ran down Paige Van Zandt, joking about her potentially sliding his DMs, but Jericho joked about her and waved that off, and that ticked off, which I'm assuming her husband is there, Vanderford, or whatever his name is. I imagine that's her husband, trained with them in American Top Team. So that pissed him off, and then Jericho laid out the challenge of a 10-man tag, and Lambert said that they'll lay out the stipulations for the match next week, as he can't take another minute in Miami. So now it's kind of obvious that this is going to escalate at Full Gear, but they also chanted at Scorpio Sky as he took the microphone, "You still suck," pretty much. And then Sammy Guevara, the only champion there, said that I'll see them all next week and I'll beat all their asses. Point blank segment between the two real factions, I would say, which will culminate in a match at Full Gear, which I'm assuming. So then we got Andrade Del Idolo's team versus the Lucha Brothers for the AAA Mega Tag Team titles. Now, people, I mean, it turned out to be FTR versus Lucha Brothers, which is a good match, but I think people kind of had higher expectations as to what it's going to be. Now, I already saw people are going to be complaining about this decision with not FTR won the AAA Mega Tag titles here, but I'm assuming now that FTR are one of the best tag teams in AEW and across the world. But with this deep tag team division, they've been kind of being left out. And here with the Forbidden Door, with travel and stuff being a little more open, and with what's on the plate for the Lucha Brothers being the current AEW Tag Team Champions, it makes sense really for, so FTR is going to represent then AEW, I think, in Mexico and AAA, now that they are the tag team champions. Now, again, this was kind of out of the blue, but, with the deep tag team division, with which was being the AEW tag team champions, it'll work if FTR is able to represent in AAA. So I'm all for it, but this match was okay. I mean, of course, the disappointment, but still was okay. So right off the bat, you could tell something was funny, that Lucha Brothers were trying to unmask the Wolves, which were FTR. Eventually they did, which no surprise. So then, springboard double dropkick by Phoenix on both. Then was a tope or a suicida by Penta. And then a plancha by Phoenix off the top rope on the both FTR. Penta then was sent into the timekeeper's table, which apparently left him out for the rest of the match, seemingly. And then Dax was trying to use the title belt, but then Tully came down to distract the referee. Phoenix then went for a moonsault, but Dax hit Phoenix in the face with one of the titles and then hit a brainbuster onto Phoenix for the win. FTR are the new AAA Mega Tag Team Champions. And like I said, I'm all for it, considering the deep tag team vision, and if I'm assuming they will represent AEW and AAA. It is confusing though, FTR for Andrade's team. I mean, is there ties with the inner circle? I mean, not the inner circle, the pinnacle. That's just a lot going into it, but we'll see. So then we got Jon Moxley versus Wheeler Yuta. This was short, sweet. Moxley came in through the crowd, beat up Wheeler Yuta. Paradigm shift, 1, 2, 3, and left. Simple as that. And like I said earlier, Moxley will be in that world title eliminator tournament. So interesting to see. So then Serena Deeb, she was being interviewed backstage, but she was attacked by Hikaru Shida. Of course, Shida upset at the events that happened last week on Dynamite and being denied her 50th win in AEW. So quickly from that. So we got the Superkliq, the Young Bucks, and Adam Cole, baby, versus the Dark Orders, Evil Uno, Alex Reynolds, John Silvers. So, high octane match as you expect from the Young Bucks, but pretty much action all around. John Silvers had great part in the match. So he went for a senton off the apron, met with a super kick by Matt. A triple team super kick Yushi Goroshi by the Superkliq. Adam Cole was in the ring, the usual Adam Cole baby shtick taunt. And then after a beatdown on Johnny Hungy as a hot tag to Uno, he actually took the shoe and the sock off of Nick Jackson. And this propped the crowd. He did a Mr. Sacco mandible claw to Nick Jackson, which popped the crowd heavy. But Cole saved Nick with a super kick. And then Cole was isolated. They went for offense, counter, or a stunner, German suplex, and then a turning flatliner by Uno for a near fall. Tope by Nick, and then Alex Reynolds and Adam Cole were left in the ring. Was a roll up by Reynolds for a near fall. Then eventually was a Superkliq party, followed with a Panama Sunrise, BT Trigger, and then Adam Cole lowered the boom for the win. So, simple octane match for both. I was a little disappointed that Adam Cole was not in the world title eliminator tournament, but I mean, with this whole Superkliq being in AEW and with the eventual sell news of the trios titles in AEW, I imagine that they're just building them up for Superkliq to win those trios titles and be the inaugural champions. So then MJF, he was out there, and of course last week Darby was attacked by Masked Man, aka the Pinnacle, and after MJF challenged Darby to a match, so MJF went out there in his ring gear. He was all ready for a match, quote unquote, knowing that Darby wasn't there. He dissed on Miami and Justin Roberts for not doing his job. He called Darby a coward for not showing up. So then he tells Grell, I know that you wanted MJF for Darby on tonight. Well, you're going to get it. So he called for Wardlow. He dragged out Bryce Remsburg, and MJF ordered Remsburg to count to 10 and declare MJF the winner. So Remsburg forced. He started counting, and then once he got to 9, lights went out, Sting's music came on, and Sting came out. And Darby's aide, he came out with his baseball bat and attacked Wardlow, who was thrown in front of MJF. And MJF hightailed it, and that was how the segment ended. Good segment. Sting for Darby's favor only leaned to the eventual match at Full Gear, which I'm all for. Excuse me. So then we got Hangman and Paige in the ring, cutting a promo. The new number 1 contender for the AEW World Championship. He said that he's excited for Full Gear. No doubt. They left their homes in New Japan Pro Wrestling and Ring of Honor to come make AEW. And he's glad they did. But on the way, he lost and they changed themselves. And Hangman said that he told everyone that he was going to be the first AEW World Champion. And he lost to Jericho. Then he lost to Pac. Then he had to go find himself, and he lost himself. And he was writing down the meaning of cowboy shit, his proverbial chant. He talked about how it's about leaving the past behind you how it's about putting yourself out there for friends, new friends that they did for him, the Dark Order. Talked about how it's about going back home for the birth of his newborn baby boy. So congrats to Hangman and his girlfriend. And he said he can't predict what will happen at Full Gear, but he promises that he'll give his all and he'll give Cowboy shit at Full Gear. So, good promo by Hangman. Cut to the point, and we all just can't wait for the match to happen at Full Gear. It's gonna be fun. Gonna be fun. Against Omega. So they also went over the lineup for Rampage next week. So we'll get 2 of the World Title Eliminator Tournament matches next week. We'll also get Britt Baker, DMD versus Anna Jay. Non-title match. I think non-title. Let's see. Either way, Britt Baker's going to win. No surprise. And then we also got Andrade El Idolo versus Pac Part 2. So, should be fun. Now to the main event. Bryan Danielson versus Bobby Fish. Bobby Fish, he's been busy as of late. Now signed to AEW. Had a hell of a debut match versus Sammy Guevara last night. Won a competitive match versus Lee Moriarty. Danielson, of course, had that war versus Minoru Suzuki last night as well. You can tell from the scars that he brought with him to this match. But still a good match. It's just compared to last night's events, didn't live up to it, but it's still very good as well. So, Bryan hit a Suicida onto the outside. He sent Fish into the ring post and then went for his knee off the apron, but Fish took his legs out from under him and Bryan landed hard on the outside. So then back in the ring, they were exchanging submissions, and then they were on the top rope, and then Fish hit a beautiful Falcon Arrow for a near fall into a knee bar, and then they were jogging for position. Bryan, he managed to get to ropes, use his legs to try to get out of them, and then in transition, Bryan hooked on a heel hook, and in the center of the ring, Fish with no choice but to tap out, and Bryan Danielson gets a interesting win over Bobby Fish. Interesting, and gets his momentum gearing towards the World Title Eliminator Tournament. Again, the tournament starts next week. 2 matches on Rampage, 2 on Dynamite. And again, Hobbs versus Cassie. Orange, I think, will win that. Archer versus Kingston. Tough sled, but I think we'll see Archer get the victory. Bryan versus Dustin. Of course, Bryan is going to be Dustin Rhodes. And the Moxley should be 10. Although I'm curious to see how they fare against one another. But nonetheless, that's the review, guys. Good show. Good show. With these preempted shows, it's obviously going to take a dip in appeal and ratings, but still a fun show. Obviously, next week will be preempted as well for Dynamite next Saturday night. But nonetheless, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I know I did too. But same schedule, be back next week. Sort two topics earlier in the week, and then followed up next Saturday with my AEW Rampage review, which if you haven't seen it, I posted up earlier today. And also got my AEW Dynamite review, which I'll do, of course, next week as well. But thank you. Be safe. Peace.